Hi, welcome to the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio. My name is Andrew Richmond, and I'm an antiques and art appraiser, and today we're going to be reflecting on the subject of mirrors. In early America, mirrors were used primarily for two reasons: to reflect space, to make space feel larger, very much like they are often used in interior design today, but more importantly, if you think about early American lighting, candles, lamps, it's about light. It's about reflecting light and amplifying it to make rooms brighter. In a well-to-do Victorian home, a very well-to-do Victorian home, you would have potentially a pier mirror. This is a large, large mirror that often goes from floor to ceiling, often with a little shelf, but its main job, again, is just to reflect light. You have a chandelier hanging in the center. You're going to have lights or other sorts of lighting devices throughout the room, and this is just a way to help move light around the area so that in the evening, if you're having a ball or a party, people can see each other, because those lights, those early lighting devices don't produce the kind of light that obviously electric light bulbs do, and so they need the help. These larger, more impressive mirrors are going to be the homes of the wealthy. A large mirror like this, situated over the fireplace, over the mantelpiece, was often referred to, as you might imagine, an over-mantel mirror. And again, thinking about the need to reflect light, over-mantel mirrors were perfectly situated to not only reflect the light of lamps that might have been on the mantelpiece, but also that chandelier that is undoubtedly hanging in the middle of the room, and again, it helps reflect the light throughout the room. In the classical period, so the 1820s to the 1840s, mirrors were a very popular addition to any well-appointed parlor. Large mirrors such as this, usually finished with gilding, real gold gilding, were placed throughout the room, but quite popularly over the fireplace to reflect the light. This particular one is one of two here at the Decorative Arts Center that are very similar. They're not quite a pair, but they're very similar, both probably made in Boston in the 1830s. And again, that gilding also helps reflect the light, so it's serving dual function, not only decorative, but it is also reflective. In a dining room, it would be particularly important to have as much light as possible. The table would have had candles or smaller lamps. There would have been a chandelier, but other lighting must have been around the room. But again, the addition of mirrors to reflect that light was important. On a sideboard such as this, it's a small mirror, but would have helped reflect light. It also might have been helpful if if somebody was at the sideboard serving, they could have seen what was going on the table to see if they were needed. But again, mostly it's about reflecting light. We're seeing a theme here: mirrors equal light. So here we have a really rather wonderful classical pier table made in Philadelphia in the late 1820s. Just decked out in brass mounts and figural mahogany veneer, but also underneath we have this mirror. Now this might be a little bit of an exception to the rule about mirrors being about lighting, because there's not a whole lot of light under here to reflect. It may be about space. It may have just been that was the fashion, and that's why they put it in there, because it was trendy. Years later, there became we'll call it a historical myth that developed about this type of mirror and this type of table. These tables were nicknamed petticoat tables. And the story goes that a lady could walk by one of these tables and she could check in that mirror if her petticoat was showing and make adjustments if necessary. It was not actually why the mirrors were there. It was more about fashion, but it's a fun story even if it's not true.